up, guys? So, continuing my coverage of Drag Race UK, today I'm going to be talking about episode 5, and it was the Girl Group Challenge. And I thought Snatch Game was a good episode, but this just completely eclipsed that. I'm going to say it was probably the best episode of the season. Again, it just keeps getting better and better this season. This episode had everything that you needed for a great drag race. There was healthy competition, there was lots of laughs, and it also had juicy drama with the seemingly untouchable Vivienne stumbling in the challenge. The mini challenge this week is one of my favourites. The reads. Oh yes. The reading challenge this week started the episode off on a very funny note because them bitches read each other to filth. And like the Snatch Game, everybody was actually quite good in this challenge. Like, nobody bombed, which was nice. Everyone at least did get some jokes in there. Baga calling Cheryl a bottom bitch was priceless. I mean, my reaction says it all. But the Queen's reads I was looking forward to hearing the most was definitely Blue Hydrangea, because she's been such a shady bitch over the last few weeks, but I've loved that about her. I thought, oh yeah, she's quite shady. She's probably going to come prepared for the reads. And yes, she was prepared. She came with freaking props. I mean, who's ever brought a prop to the reading challenge before? The prop was a massive fail because she couldn't even get the bag on top of Baga's head, but at least she managed to, stick the landing with her jokes. But despite her efforts, it wasn't Blue that won this challenge, it actually went to Crystal. She got to pick the teams for the main challenge this week, which was dividing the girls into 2 girl groups, and they were going to sing this song which they had to write their own verses for, called Break Up, Babba. And yeah, she ended up picking for her team the Vivienne and Cheryl Hall, and their team name was, what do they call themselves? Filth Harmony, yeah, that's quite like that name. And then the other team consisted of Baga, Divina, DeCampo, and Blue, and they were called the Frock Destroyers. Yeah, I like both their names. To be honest, Crystal picked exactly who I would have picked to be in my girl group if I'd have won the challenge, because the Vivienne is a reliable talent, she's a trained singer, and Cheryl Hall is a trained dancer, so it's kind of perfect for a girl group. It's logical. But Baga correctly predicted that Crystal ended up being overshadowed by Cheryl, and to everybody's surprise, it was the Vivienne this week who floundered in this challenge. Like, she really struggled. She started off well, in the challenge, she was quite fierce, but then somewhere along the way, halfway into the song, she just kind of got a bit lost and looked a bit dazed, a bit like a deer in the headlights. Crystal, though, was just kind of there, just sort of dancing off to the side, not really had much stage presence, was kind of overshadowed by Cheryl. But Cheryl, oh my god, I was so happy for Cheryl this week because she finally got a challenge that was tailor-made to her skill set, where it was performing, dancing and singing. This is what she does for a living with her Girls Aloud tribute band thing. And yeah, it was so nice to see her in her element. You could tell she was having so much fun with this challenge, and it really reflected in her performance when they were on the stage. But it was kind of tragic for her because Cheryl probably did have a good chance to win this challenge based on the performance aspect, but her teammates kind of dragged her down and, yeah, took away any chance of her winning a repeater badge. But the tragic thing about Cheryl is, that thing that she said at the beginning of the week about her being mediocre?
It's a new day in the workroom, and I'm ready for another week of me doing mediocre.
Well, the sad truth is, even though this was a challenge where she excelled at, she was still only in the middle because all 3 members of the Frock Destroyers ended up winning this challenge, so yeah, she was safe, Cheryl, but she's never been in the top 2 or the top 3 for that matter. And now that we're getting down to the last 5, that really puts her at a disadvantage because she is also the only one of the remaining queens not to have won a repeater badge yet. Let's do a quick badge tally. Blue Hydrangea has 1. Divina, DeCampo and the Vivienne both have 2, and Baga Chipz has taken the lead with 3 repeater badges, with Cheryl yet to score. She's really gonna have to step her pussy up in the branding challenge next week because she needs a win if she wants to make it to the final. But Baga has really come into her own now, hasn't she? She's been quite consistent throughout the series. I did think she got a free pass in the design challenge for her scrubber look thing. Yeah, she should have been in the bottom 2 that week, but she really has come through as the front runner now because the Vivienne, who everyone thought was going to be the winner, has had a wobble, and now I think a lot of people are placing their bets on Baga to be the winner. Again, if there was any season to have 2 winners, it would be this one, Ru, because having the Vivienne and Baga joint win would actually make the prize of the Hollywood web series better by having them as a double act rather than just one of them getting the web series. I'd want to watch Baga and the Vivienne causing all sorts of mayhem, driving around Hollywood like Thelma and Louise. There's a great idea for a TV series. But it seems very likely Ru's going to crown 2 winners in the first season of the UK version. But yeah, Baga got a ton of screen time this week, didn't she? There were so many cuts to her.
In this girl group, American toner. Prawn ring, £1. Oh my god, those high notes. I think there's dolphins screaming somewhere. I think there's dogs in Blackpool barking. Are you mad? Are you mad? No.
Was nobody else's soundbites worthy of a giggle this week? I mean, apart from Blue Hydrangea's priceless moment where she didn't know what a rent boy was, I don't even know how that's possible. She's just displayed such a filthy, filthy mind the last few weeks. How can you not know what a rent boy is? Come on. But I'll tell you which queen I've come to admire so much over the last few weeks because of how inspiring they are. Divina DeCampo. I've got so much adoration for her, not just because of the challenges. She was amazing this week as well, doing the splits and rapping and that whole time to break up, Babba. I absolutely adore her for what she stands for and what she represents. She's kind of like the Nina West of this series because she's an old pro, she's a good team player, and she also helps other people out even though she knows this is a competition. So she's very conscientious, maternal and caring, but she also has meaningful things to say. Last week while we were in the workroom and she was talking to Blue Hydrangea about gay marriage not being legal in Northern Ireland yet, and she said, "Your belief is a belief, my existence is a reality." That really struck a chord with me. I thought that was beautifully put. And this week she was talking about Section 28 and how it forbids teachers from promoting anything that's homosexual in classes because it's not appropriate, apparently. She's so knowledgeable in LGBT issues and she's using the platform that this TV show is giving her to start a discussion, to raise awareness of it. She is a fantastic ambassador for the LGBT community because she's very aware of all the issues that we're facing. And I love that she's hopeful because even when she was talking about the incident she had when she was verbally abused by a student in a school, she saw the good in the classroom. She saw that everyone else was outraged by it. And she said that we shouldn't underestimate children because their values are evolving and changing. They're more accepting and tolerant. It was such a wonderful moment. And I really do love Divina DeCampo because she's so inspiring. She's making West Yorkshire proud. Yorkshire, Yorkshire, Yorkshire. Blue Hydrangea also got to me this week when she said that thing about we can turn our insecurities and direct them into art. And I totally get what she means by that. And then there was the whole despunk my balls line, and I was just like, God, that filthy Mary Berry thing isn't an act, is it? That's just who you are. Did anybody else gag when M&EK dropped the Tatiana reference as well?
Despunk, Merman. Just, choices.
Yes! Oh my god. As for the lip sync for your life this week, I do agree with who was in the bottom two this week. The Vivienne and Crystal were by far the worst people in this challenge this week. The lip sync itself was pretty good this week. It was to Little Mix's Power, which is a great song. But the Vivienne slayed it. There was definitely fire in her eyes and her belly and her soul. She was giving it her all. But Crystal, she wasn't bad, but it almost seemed like she knew she was going home and she just kind of accepted it. She knew she wasn't going to beat the Vivienne, who is a two-time badge winner. She'd never been in the bottom, and Crystal was in the bottom last week, so it just seemed like the natural progression that it was her turn to go. So yeah, I didn't feel like she fully committed to the lip sync, but she still gave a pretty good performance. I did like her witty catchphrase as she left the stage. Fuck diamonds, try Crystal. Very East London. I am really glad that the Vivienne stayed, but I honestly think that her being in the bottom two might be the best thing that's happened to her because it's going to bring her back down to earth. As Divina DeCampo put it so eloquently,
it's really interesting to see a more human side to Viv, and I like it. I prefer that person, rather than the hard, perfect drag machine that we've been seeing.
That's so true. I love the Vivienne, but it had felt like she was getting a bit cocky over the last few weeks, getting in her own head that she was going to win it.
Feel that crown coming.
Overconfidence is an ugly look for anybody. Her being in the bottom two is a reality check, and I hope she shows a little bit more humility going forward, because she could win it still. Also, we need to take a moment to appreciate Jade Thirwall, who is probably one of my favourite guest judges the show has ever had. I liked Little Mix before, but now I freaking love Jade Thirwall. She was hilarious. She made me laugh out loud so many times.
You remind me of like Peggy Mitchell's crazy sister.
Okay, now that you're a judge, what would be the biggest difference between your style of judging versus Simon Cowell's?
Well, for starters, Rue, Simon has much bigger tits.
Amazing. I'm loving the shade of Jade. And who can forget this beauty?
I absolutely love this look. You're giving me like Ariana Grande national realness.
Jade Thirwall, you are witty! me! Anybody who has the intelligence to make an Ariana Grande national pun on RuPaul's Drag Race has my heart. I'm gonna say it, she was a better guest judge than Andrew Garfield, and he set the bar really high. As for the runway looks this week, my favourites were the Vivienne, Baga and Divina DeCampo. Loved all three. Divina was probably the best this week because her outfits always have a concept and an idea behind them, and she really sold it well. Baga Chipz' look was great. It kind of looks like something she would wear performing at the Admiral Duncan on a Thursday night, to be honest, but it is very much her style of drag. It's just pure camp. Every week it's just camp, 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 camp. But yeah, she knows her branding. The worst look for me on the runway was definitely Cheryl Hall. She didn't look bad. She just looked a bit basic, like she looked like she would blend in at the Grand National, which makes me worried that Cheryl will be the next to go because she's had no wins and her runway looks look a little bit vanilla in comparison to all the other queens. But come on Cheryl, drag up your life or at least your wardrobe because there's so much more to offer than just, oh, here's my Essex girl look number 84. I know that you can bring more than that, but I really do want to see Cheryl win a task. But there you go guys, that is my review of Drag Race UK episode 5. I'm gonna give this episode a score of 9 out of 10. But as always, this is just one bloke's opinion. I'd love to hear from you guys. What did you guys think of this episode? Do you agree with 3 people winning this challenge, or do you think someone should have taken the crown based on the runway looks? To be honest, the runway looks don't seem to be counting for much this season, but yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. Also, now that we're getting closer and closer to the finish line, I want to know who do you guys think is going to win this season? Do you think it's going to be Baga? Do you think it's going to be the Vivienne? Some dark horse like Divina or Blue? Whatever you guys think, be sure to let your voice be heard in that comment section down below. If you guys are enjoying these videos and want to stay up to date with all my future content, don't forget to click subscribe. And if you want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you can find all those links in that video description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Carefield, and I'll see you next time.